When I was getting on toward 10, I remember, Father took me by the hand one Sunday afternoon as we go out into the woods and listen to the birds singing. Waving goodbye to Mother, who had to stay home and get the evening meal, we set off briskly in the warm sunshine. We didn't make any great to-do about this going to listen to the birds, as though it were something extra special or wonderful. We were sound, sensible people. Father and I brought up with nature and used it. There was nothing to make fuss about. It was just that it was Sunday afternoon and Father was free. We walked along the railway line where people were not allowed to go as early. But Father worked on the railway and so he had a right to. By doing this, we could get straight into the woods too, without going around about way. Soon, the birds' song began and all the rest. There was a twittering of finches and willow warblers, thrushes and sparrows in the bushes. The hum that goes on all around you as soon as you enter the wood. The ground was white with wood animals. The birches had just come out into leaf, and the spruces had fresh shoots. There were scents on all sides, and underfoot the mossy earth lay streaming in the sun. There was noise and movement everywhere. Bumblebees came out of their holes. Midges swarmed wherever it was marshy, and birds darted out of the bushes to catch them and back again as quickly. All at once, a train came rushing and we had to go down on the embankment. Father hailed the engine driver with two fingers, and the driver saluted and extended his hands. Yes, it was a lovely day. The sky was quite clear, not a cloud to be seen, and there couldn't be any either on a day like this from what Father said. After a while, we came up to a field of oats to the right of the line where a crofter we knew had clearing. The oats had come up close and even. Father scanned them with an expert eye, and I could see he was satisfied. I knew very little about such things, having been born in a town. Then we came to the bridge over a stream which most of the time had no water to speak, but which now was in full state. We held hands so as not to fall down between the slippers. After that, it was not long before you come to the paper's cottage, lying embedded in greenery, apple trees and gooseberry bushes. We wanted to get to the river, for it was more beautiful there than anywhere else. There was something special about it. As farther upstream, it flowed past where Father had lived as a child. We stopped by the river, which murmured in the hot sun, broad and friendly. The shady trees hung along the banks and were reflected in the backwater. He had sat here on the stones as a boy, waiting for perch all day long. Now, he didn't have time. We hung about on the bank for a good while, making a noise, pushing out bits of bark for the current to take, throwing pebbles out into the water to see who could throw the farthest. We were both gay and cheerful by nature, Father and I. At last, we felt tired and that we had enough. It was beginning to get dark. The woods were changed. It wasn't dark there yet, but almost. We quickened our steps. Mother would be getting anxious and waiting with the supper. She was always afraid something was going to happen, but it hadn't. It had been a lovely day. Nothing had happened which shouldn't. We were content with everything. The twilight deepened. The trees were so funny. They stood listening to every step we took, as if they didn't know who we were. Under one of them was a glowworm. It lay down there in the dark, staring at us. Now it was quite dark. We came to the bridge over the stream. It roared there in the depths, horribly as though it wanted to swallow us up. The abyss yawned below us. We trod carefully with the slippers, holding each other tightly by the hand so as not to fall in. I thought Father would carry me across, but he didn't say anything. He probably wanted me to be like him and think nothing of it. We went on. Father was so calm as he walked there in the darkness, with even strides, not speaking, thinking to himself. I couldn't understand how he could be so calm when it was so murky. I looked all around in fear, nothing but darkness in everywhere. I hardly dared take a deep breath, for when you got so much darkness inside you, and that was dangerous. Nothing was right, nothing real. It was all so weird. Hugging close to Father, I whispered, Father, why is it so horrible when it's dark?
No, my child, it's not horrible.
Yes, Father, it is.
No, my child, you mustn't think that. Not when we know there is a God.
I felt so lonely, forsaken. It was so strange that only I was afraid, not Father, but we didn't think the same. Then, as we were rounding a bend, we suddenly heard a mighty roar behind us. We were awakened out of our own thoughts in alarm. Father pulled me down onto the embankment, down into the abyss. He held me there, then the train tore past a black train. All the lights in the carriages were out, and it was going at frantic speed. What sort of train was it? There wasn't one due now. We gazed at it in terror. The fire blazed in the huge engine as they shoveled in coal. Sparks swirled out into the wind. It was terrible. Father didn't recognize the driver, didn't know who he was. The man just stared straight ahead as though intent on rushing into the darkness, far into the darkness it had no end. Beside myself with dread, I stood there planting, gazing after the furious vision. It was swallowed up by the night. After Father took me up on the line, we hurried home and he said,
Strange. What train was that? And I didn't recognize the driver.
Then we walked on in silence, but my whole body was shaking. It was for me, for my sake. I sensed what it meant. It was the anguish of what was to come, the unknown. All that Father knew nothing about, that he wouldn't be able to protect me against. That is how this world, this life would be for me. Not like Father's, where everything was secure and certain. It wasn't a real world, a real life. It just hurtled blazing into the darkness that had no end.